Lord Narayana, who is the soul of the universe, who is the refuge of everyone, entered the mind of Vasudeva. People were amazed to see the glow that emanated from Vasudeva. He shone like the noonday sun, since the Lord had found an abode in him. Devaki received in her the embodiment of auspiciousness, the essence of all the wealth and glory of the universe, the soul of the universe, the indestructible Atman which resides in every living being and non-living. Devaki had the good fortune of becoming the mother of the Lord of Lords. If the east glows with the newly risen moon, she looked beautiful. Her form was radiant, but the world could not see, since she was a captive in the house of Kamsa. Her glory was hidden like a lamp placed inside a pot. Like Saraswati, the goddess of learning, is hidden in the mind of the Pandit, who is greedy about his learning and refuses to impart it to others. Kamsa, however, knew that she was glowing with an unearthly light. Devaki was holding the Lord in a room. The entire house was bathed in a strange light since she was there. Her lips bore a beautiful smile, and Kamsa, looking at her, spoke to himself and said, Devaki has never looked like this before. It seems to me the strange glow in her is there because of the child that is to be born. I think it is Narayana who is to be born, and that's why she looks so beautiful. I must take proper precautions lest he should do what he was promised to do. I do not want to die. I would kill her. I could kill her now, but then she's a woman. Kamsa knew something is happening, but how to kill now? Why? She's a woman. She is my sister, and she is with child. Each killing in itself is an unforgivable. Kamsa is thinking this. Each killing in itself is an unforgivable crime, and the world will condemn me if I kill her now. All my fame and all my wealth, even my lifespan will suffer because of this. It's not a fact that a man who lives in constant association with terrible deeds is like a walking corpse. When he is alive, people will curse him. When he dies, he will go to the hell which goes by the name Andhat, blind Atma. Kamsa desisted from killing his sister and awaited the birth of the child with impatience. Thoughts of coming of the child had become an obsession with him, so he is assured of moksha. While sitting down on a seat, he would suddenly stop and look at the seat, since he thought he saw a child was sitting on the seat. He would tell himself there was a child on the seat, and I was about to sit on it. Terrible, pure, full depression, accompanied by hallucinations. He would then go to bed and try to lie down. There is a child lying down. He would move away from there and stand far away. Looking down, he would see a child at his feet. He would go and sit down to eat. Instead of food, he would see the child on the plate. He would get up in disgust and walk from there. Every step the child would persist in lying in his way. To Kamsa, the entire world seemed to be pervaded by the Lord of Lords in the form of a mere child, like the fellow lying in the peepal tree sucking his toe. The time was drawing near. Brahma, Mahadeva, and all the devas went to the presence of Devaki and stood in front of her with folded palms and said, Salutations to thee, O Lord. You were gracious enough to take different forms and different times to save us from despair. You were Matsya, Hayagriva, Kurma, Narasimha, Varaha, Hamsa, Parashurama, Rama, Yajna, and Kapila. Many other forms were assumed by you. Now when the earth needs you, please save the world from the great suffering. We bow down to you. They then spoke to Devaki and said, you are a fortunate princess, then you will be the mother of Narayana himself, Holy Mother of God. Adishesha has already been born to you, and now this child which is to be born will be the savior of the world. You need have no more fear of karma. Comes. His days are numbered. Having pacified her and encouraged her, Brahma and the rest of the celestial host vanished from their presence. Time was auspicious. It had the charm of all the 6 seasons. The planets and the stars were in position from where they showed peace and joy to the world. The 4 quarters were clear and placid, and Rohini was in the ascent star. Star which is governed by Prajapati. Sky was clear and studded with stars which were shining brightly. The waters and the rivers were clean and sweet. The lakes were filled with flowers. The fires which were kindled by the Brahmins were burning without smoke. An air of peace and tranquility pervaded the earth. The minds of all men were happy for no reason. Only Kamsa was unhappy. A divine dundubi was being played in the heavens. Instrument. Kinnaras were singing, and so were the Gandharvas, Siddhas, and Charanas were chanting words of praise. The Apsaras and the Vidyadhara women were dancing with abandon. The Devas and the Rishis showered flowers on the earth. There was heard a great rumbling from the clouds, which was like the roar of the ocean. It was midnight. Muhurta was Abhijit. And Narayana, who is in the hearts of everyone, was born to Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. Devaki gave birth to Narayana, as the east brings forth the glorious moon. Vasudeva looked at the newborn child. He was amazed. This was not an ordinary child. Narayana had appeared in his real form. Vasudeva saw that it was not a child, but Narayana himself was lying there in his arms. He looked at the lotus eyes, his 4 arms, at the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma in his 4 hands. Vasudeva saw the faint mark on the chest of the child, the Srivatsa, the jewel. Kaustuba was gleaming on his neck, and he was wearing yellow silk, dark as a rain cloud. He made the entire place shine with splendor of his crown. His earrings were shaped like a fish with glory that was himself. Vasudeva looked at this glorious form and kept on looking without moving his eyes. It looked as if he was drinking the beauty of the child with his eyes. He came to his senses, realizing that he had just become the father of a child, and being a Kshatriya, he had to perform the usual rites for the child. So he worshipped 1,000 Brahmins with his clothes dripping with the holy waters of the river. He gave away 1,000 cows as gifts. All this he did in his mind, promising to himself that he would do it at the moment he could do so. Right now he was only imagining. But his mind, he said, when I can do it, I will do it. Vasudeva then placed the child on the ground with folded palms. He spoke words of prayer to the Paramapurusha. He said, in your infinite kindness to the earth and to poor Vasudeva and Devaki, you have assumed the form of a human being. How can I speak of the words of thrill that rush into my lips? I am no longer unfortunate. Great is your mercy towards us. Devaki then said, you are the sole destroyer of everything. Please have pity on Mother Earth and on us, and put an end to the tyranny of Kamsa. And please let not Kamsa see you in this form, the form to see which yogis spend endless years in penance, the form which is granted to the sight of very few. It is not meant for ordinary eyes like mine to judge from your divine form. Please hide this glorious vision. Your birth has made me sad. Unlike other mothers, I cannot keep you for myself. You know, my Lord, how Kamsa has killed all the children I have borne. Even now, he is rushing towards you with the sword held aloft in his right hand. Let him not see you in this form. He does not deserve it. Then the Lord spoke and he said, Devaki, you are the purest of women. In your previous Janma, you were born in the line of Swayambhu Manu, and your name was Prishni. This Vasudeva was by the name of Sutapas. You both were commanded by Prajapati to create, and both of you performed strenuous tapas. Your mind was set on me and only me. The penance went on for 12,000 years. I was pleased with your devotion and appeared before you in this very form which you see now. I asked what boon you wanted. You were both deluded by Maya at that moment. After all the severity of the penance you performed, you should have asked me for moksha, the release from bondage. But you didn't. You wanted me as your son. You then became involved in the pleasures of the world, and in course of time I was born to you. I was called Prishnigarbha and became famed for my good qualities. Later, you both were famed by the names Kashyapa and Aditi. Then I was born as your son. Upendra was my name, but I am better known as Vamana, who stopped Bali's yajna. This is the third time I am born as your son. It is to prove to you that Narayana has kept his word, that he will be born as your son again and again, that this form has been assumed. If you do not see me in my real form, you will again get involved in the maya of the world and be unable to attain moksha. But now, you think of me as your son and also realize that I am the Brahman. After this birth, you will attain moksha. You can be sure of that. Lord was silent. Even as they were looking on, his divine form was lost and he became an ordinary child in their eyes. Vasudeva had been commanded to take the newborn child and leave it in Gokula, in the house of Nanda, the chief of the cowherds. He was to bring back with him the child which had been born to Yashoda, the wife of Nanda. Vasudeva and Devaki were wondering how this could be achieved, considering that the doors were all locked and armed guards were stationed at every doorway. Kamsa had doubled the guards ever since he knew that the child was going to be born to Devaki. Vasudeva placed the child in a small wicker basket, covered him with his upper cloth. He held the basket in his hands and looked in despair at the locked doors. Locks snapped open on their own accord. And with amazement writ on their faces, they watched the door swing open. Vasudeva quickly walked towards the door and found that the watchmen were all in deep sleep. He walked out without any trouble and reached the banks of the river Yamuna. The sky was suddenly overcast, and dense black clouds gathered in the heavens. Rain began to fall in torrents, and Vasudeva did not know how he was going to cross the river, which threatened to brim her banks. Placing his faith in the Lord, Vasudeva stepped in the waters. Without his knowing, Adishesha followed him, and with his 1,000 hooks he protected the child from the rain. The river Yamuna, whose waters had swollen so much because the downpour caused by Indra himself, suddenly gave way to Vasudeva. Even as the ocean gave way to Sri Ramachandra, he wanted to cross the sea and reach Lanka. Vasudeva reached Nanda Gokula, following the commands of the Lord. He went straight to the home of Nanda. He reached the apartments of Yashoda, Nanda's queen. Vasudeva saw a child lying by her side. Gently he lifted the child after placing his own son by the side of Yashoda. Place the other girl in this basket. It was a girl. The entire Gokula was asleep in a trance. Vasudeva traced his steps back to Mathura quickly and came back to his prison. He placed the child by the side of Devaki and he found that the doors had locked themselves. He placed the irons on his ankles and hands and they waited for the coming of Kamsa.